The Megan Show continues. Carney to Tyrell.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Meg Show for week 6, episode 6. Another crazy week of women's lacrosse. Big weekend for us, not to be selfish. Meg and I had the opportunity to go up to Syracuse for alumni weekend.
Very first
And
one.
Very, very first one that we were able to go and hang out at. So that was a lot of fun. And we will definitely be getting into that game because, wow, couldn't have asked for a better alumni weekend. But before we kind of hop and jump into that one, let's kind of recap the games that we were looking at last week. So our first game that we're going to talk about was exactly the game you would want to watch between Notre Dame and Boston College. For BC, it was their red bandana game, which if you don't know what that is, definitely go check it out on BC's socials. They really do a really good job of it, and it just has such a special meaning. So with that, they give one of the players who earns the honor of wearing number 19, as it reflects someone who played on Boston College men's lacrosse in the past. And Ryan Smith earned that honor, so congratulations to her. Such an honor to wear that number on that day. So special. And, this has been a competitive game between Notre Dame and BC for the past couple of years. I know last season they were head-to-head a bunch and having very close games. So for this one, Notre Dame was able to pull out the win here. So big performances by MK Doherty. Had a hat trick performance, was great on the draw. Huge offensive threat for them this game. She even put away the game winner at the end when there was 15 seconds left, which would end up being the first win for Notre Dame at BC since 2003. So long time coming for the Irish. Such an exciting game to see go back and forth. And the Fighting Irish pull out the win up in Chestnut Hill.
Yes, they did. Next game, UNC at Syracuse. Just like Meg said, we were there in the Dome. Awesome environment. Had attendance of 2,982 people. Largest single game crowd in program history. So once again, the Dome was packed. They were doing a great job at that. I feel like each year we just see more and more fans start to pour into the Dome, which is awesome. But yeah, Syracuse not only came out with a win, but they smoked them. 20-5. Could not have asked for a better first alumni weekend. Was just so awesome, so proud. Such a proud alumni. Just being able to see the team come together and rally and just really hand it to them. It was UNC's worst margin of defeat or loss in program history. Syracuse remains unbeaten in the ACC at 4-0. Emma Tyrell ties her career high with 8 points. She had 5 goals, 3 assists, and is the 11th player in program history to record 200 points. So pretty awesome. Meg was there. Her parents were there, so they got to see her hit that record. And then Nat Smith tied her career high, 4 goals. Emma Ward had 5 points, 2 goals, 3 assists. And then Syracuse also had 8 different goal scorers, 6 of them with multiple goals. So just watching that game in person, they were very aggressive. They were playing very fast, and that's something we've always tried to do in the past, but it's a matter of doing it for the whole 60 minutes, and these girls really did. So it was very fun to watch that. But yeah, Hallie Simpkins on defense had 6 caused turnovers and 4 ground balls, which is insane to have 6 caused turnovers. But overall, unreal win for Syracuse. Needed that. 20-5, and they didn't just win, they smoked them.
Yeah, absolutely huge day. So proud of them, and shout out Hallie, playing amazing down there on D. But overall, really good game between Syracuse UNC for Cuse. Another game that we were looking at was Michigan at Penn. This game was a little bit closer, honestly, than I thought it would be. I thought Michigan might have pulled away a little bit more. In the end, Michigan ended up winning 6-4. Michigan remains undefeated. Definitely up there in that top 5. In the game, Jill Smith, we've heard her name a bunch of times. She ended up putting up that extra goal at the end, make it 6-4 with 18 seconds left. When you see these lower scoring games, a lot of times we're seeing a bit of more of a defensive game. So with that, Michigan's defense had 8 caused turnovers, which is a really good day for the D. Penn also had 12 caused turnovers. So that's amazing defense on both sides we're seeing. And when you're kind of having that back and forth of defenses really stepping up, you got to make sure you are doing your best to just control possession of the ball. We don't want the ball flying back and forth, taking those errant shots. You kind of want to have possession for as long as you can. You want to tire down those defenses. And we kind of see that in the score reflecting at the end being 6-4. Penn also ended up controlling the draw control game. They beat Michigan with that 11-4, which is, we talk about it a lot as well. If you win the draw, you might win the game. So, so Penn kind of seemed to be doing really well within that stat line for the game, but at the end, it's who puts the ball away more. Michigan came out on top and remains undefeated as they move forward.
Yeah, I can't believe Michigan is undefeated. I think it's only 3 teams left that are undefeated. Them, Loyola, and there's one more. But yeah, next game we had was St. Joe's was in Massachusetts at UMass. UMass won 16-11. I picked UMass. Meg did not. If you are tuned into our Instagram, we got some heat from the St. Joe's girls. They were just speaking their minds. They had some good school spirit out there. But check it out in the comments. They were coming at me, but guess what? UMass won. So we'll see how that goes. UMass had 8 different goal scorers, 3 of them getting hat tricks. So that's a pretty big day for UMass. They also had a huge third quarter, and they also had 10 more shots than St. Joe's did, which they both took a decent amount of shots. It was 34-24. It's a lot of shots. Yeah, UMass had a huge third quarter, which really helped pull them ahead. They had 6 goals in the third quarter, so they ended up winning 16-11. A lot of girls putting the ball in the back of the net, which is huge for them.
Yeah, unfortunately for the St. Joe's girls, didn't come out on top for that one. But never fear, there's a lot more season left. The next game that we were looking at was Vanderbilt and Temple. This was another close game that I was expecting to be close. Temple ended up winning 10-8. Big win for them. This game, we kind of saw Vanderbilt maybe not handle the ball as well as they could have. They had 20 turnovers, and you compare that to Temple's 9 turnovers. You're doubling them. That's something that you never really want to see. You want to have as much possession as you can. With these turnovers, Temple at the end was able to take more shots than Vanderbilt was. They took 31 compared to Vanderbilt's 17. So like Meg was kind of saying, the more shots you take, obviously the better your chances are of putting the ball away, scoring, and winning. And especially for Temple, we had Mastro Pietro. She scored her second consecutive 4-goal game and third consecutive hat trick. In the last 3 games, she's putting up 15 points, and she currently leads the Owls. So big day for her. That's a huge win for them. And yeah, 15 points in 3 games. You're doing really well.
That's insane. All right. Next game, we got Yale at Rutgers. Yale won 14-8. Yale took 37 shots, and Rutgers only took 18. That is such a big difference. Seems to be the common theme with all these games this past week. There's a big difference in in how many shots we're taking. So taking 37 shots, you definitely got a higher chance of winning and getting the ball in the back of the net. Yale's undefeated. That's the 3rd team. I knew that.
There you go.
Yale's undefeated at 7-0. Only other teams, like I mentioned, are Loyola and Michigan. The Bulldogs held the Scarlet Knights scoreless for the final 15 minutes and 18 seconds to help them seal the win. Huge 4th quarter for them. And then number 5, Sky for Yale, had 4 goals, 1 assist, 5 draw controls, and 3 ground balls. So she was all over the field for Yale, really just putting the team on her back and just helped them come out with a win, 14-8.
Yeah, big win for Yale, staying undefeated. That's awesome. And then just some other games that were relatively close here. So the first one starting off, Duke just got by Virginia Tech 9-8, very close game. Louisville beat Clemson 13-12, which when I saw that, I was a little bit surprised, pumped for Louisville. But I kind of thought that Clemson was going to pull out the win there.
Honestly, same.
Yeah, right? And then we saw Northwestern, they beat Hopkins 14-9. Loyola Army, another close game. Loyola won 14-13. We love to see that. That's a very competitive game. Could have probably gone either way, but awesome to watch nonetheless. And one other game that we didn't really have on our radar last week was Notre Dame. They played Brown, but Notre Dame won 16-15. They scored with again, kind of like a buzzer beater shot. There might have been a couple seconds left on the clock. And for Brown, we've been talking about them a bunch. This season they're doing so well. They're coming into themselves. They're putting up such a good game against Notre Dame, which that game also could have kind of gone either way. But yeah, that was a sneaky Wednesday night game that came out of nowhere. Good fight for both sides.
Yeah, the Notre Dame Brown, that's crazy. And then also Loyola Army being that close, kind of interesting. Army's not even in the top 25. Loyola is pretty high up there. Would have been crazy for Army to come out with a win. And then, yeah, Notre Dame and Brown, that's interesting. Brown is sneaky right now. They're on the come up. Katrina Dowd's got something. Katrina Dowd's got something going on over there. Speaking of the rankings, it's Monday. We got new rankings. What are your thoughts, Meg?
I think for the most part, this week's rankings make more sense than they have the past 2-3 weeks. I think the only surprise that I saw was Inside Lacrosse, IWLCA rankings. They put Maryland at number 2, and when I saw that, I was very curious as to kind of how that shifted out a little bit. I mean, putting them above Michigan and BC, even Notre Dame. I don't know. I just don't see how Michigan can bounce back up to 2 like that. So definitely an interesting one to see. But I think as far as the rest of the top 10 looks for that rankings, I see it. It makes sense. I think Virginia's getting shafted a little bit in the rankings. I think they should be higher, which we do see in the U.S. Lacrosse Magazine. They're at number 5, which that makes complete sense to me. I like Michigan at 4, BC, Notre Dame, Northwestern. I think that's a solid top 5. And I'm curious to see Penn at number 10. I love to see them up there, but interesting to see where that one goes.
Yeah, I agree. I love seeing the new teams that we have each week sort of sneak into the rankings. Stanford made their way in. They had a good week last week. They handled Colorado. Fairfield's getting in there. You got Richmond, got a handful of Ivies, Princeton, Yale. So I love seeing Big Ten is making a name for themselves this year. Johns Hopkins is at 11. Curious if this is when the last time was that North Carolina is ranked this low. In the U.S. Lacrosse Magazine, they're at 15. So I'd be curious to look back on that through the previous years and see how long it's been since they were ranked at least outside the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, for the past however many years, not saying UNC can't get back to a Final Four weekend, but they've been in there for forever. I feel like you think Final Four and then it's UNC's probably in there, blah, blah, blah. So interested to see how they pick it up for the rest of the season and kind of turn their ship around right now.
Looking at the upcoming games, we have JMU versus UVA Wednesday. We got a few Wednesday games. We got JMU versus UVA on Wednesday, March 20th. Navy versus Loyola Wednesday, March 20th. That's a good game to keep an eye on. Same with JMU UVA. I'm curious to see how that one plays out.
Very interested to see how that one plays out. I like that matchup.
Virginia Tech versus Pitt, Saturday, March 23rd. That's a great ACC matchup. Pretty even teams. I would say I think Virginia Tech will win, but both those teams have sort of been going back and forth with Duke, Clemson, Louisville, those teams. So curious to see who comes out on top. Cuse UVA, that's going to be a great test for Syracuse. That could go either way. Obviously, not to be biased, but obviously hope Cuse wins. But it could go either way very well. UNC versus Northwestern, that will be next Monday, March 25th. I don't know at this point if this is considered a top game. I think Northwestern will just wax them. But maybe UNC will have a fire lit under them after their performance against Syracuse and maybe figure it out.
Yeah, I think that game, Jenny Levy, she's a good coach. I think she'll be able to instill some more belief or kind of light a fire under them for this upcoming week of games and that Monday game. You know, it's going to be a game that you're dying to play in, right? Like, especially when you play a top team, you go in and you want to play your best. You want to beat them, especially when someone's ranked higher than you. Like, you know, they're ranked higher than you. So you want to go in and be the underdog. Hopefully they take that mentality and kind of push it through that game. But I'm interested to see how this one plays out.
Yeah. This season has just been full of great matchups constantly, week after week. A lot of upsets, blowouts here and there. And like I said earlier, teams making names for themselves that haven't sort of been in the top 20 rankings before. So love how great this season's been so far. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what you're gonna get. That's what makes it exciting. That's what makes people want to watch. So with that being said, we have a few questions to go over from you guys that you have left for us. I love every week going in and looking at the question document and seeing what new questions we have and what you guys come up with. Very fun to sort of look through them and now get to answer them. So with that being said, the first one, someone asked, out of all the sports you played growing up, why did you ultimately choose lacrosse? Who or what was the biggest factor for that decision?
So why did I choose lacrosse? Just because I liked it. No, I'm kidding. So when I was growing up, my parents put me into a lot of different sports because, you try it until you don't like it, or if you find something you do like, you kind of stick with it. So when I was younger, did it all. I loved soccer from a younger age. I honestly thought I was going to go to college for soccer. And then around middle school, I guess, some of my friends were playing lacrosse, and I was just like, oh, I'll try that too. I asked my parents if I could, try out or sign up, whatever it was for my town team at that time. And they're like, yeah, sure. Whatever you want to do, we'll support you. So bought a stick, one of those brine ones that was the pink and blue
From
head with
Mix, right off the
yeah,
shelf.
yeah, right off the shelf. Went in, knew nothing. Embarrassing fact that I guess I can share about myself. When I first started playing lacrosse, I wore shin guards because
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
because because I didn't know what to wear. I'd never played before, so I wore shin guards. Learned very quick you don't need them, so I took them off. But I continued to play. I started off playing defense, and I loved it. And then I kind of just wanted to try a different position, so played a little bit of midi for a while, and then ended up playing attack. But I kind of chose lacrosse when it came to when I was going into high school because I was playing travel soccer, school lacrosse, travel lacrosse, and I was just so busy all the time. And if I wanted to go into college, it was kind of at a point where it felt like I had to choose one to just kind of stick with it and pursue it. And it was really hard to say goodbye to soccer, but I did love lacrosse. I still love lacrosse, obviously. And things kind of worked out from there. I stuck with, the travel lacrosse and the high school lacrosse. And then I also still played school soccer too. So I was still able to play and have fun. I just wasn't doing those travel tournaments, just kind of driving around the US. But yeah, I guess the ultimate reason I chose it was I just liked it more. I was happier when I was playing it and I loved the people that I was around. And yeah, and it was just I was inspired from the older girls too that I got to know going through middle school and high school, just their interest in the game and how much people really cared about it. And there's just so much to love about it, I guess.
Awesome. Well, we'll have to find a picture of you with shin guards on.
I know. I hope I gotta.
I feel like I've
I
seen
actually
one.
don't want that on the internet now that I'm thinking about it. So,
Well, so for me, being from Texas, there was no girls lacrosse when I started playing in third grade. My brother played, him and his friends all played, and being the younger sister, I wanted to do whatever he was doing and be better than him at it. Not to say I was. He was a really good lacrosse player, but that's sort of what drove me. He was doing it in the backyard, so I also wanted to do it. I wanted to do whatever he was doing. So that's how I initially got into it. Started playing boys lacrosse with my best friend, her and I. Her older brother also played. All three of her older brothers played, and then my brother played. So her and I started playing boys lacrosse third grade. And then about 6th grade came around, and my mom was like, all right, you can't keep playing with the boys. They're getting way bigger than you. You cannot keep playing with them. By that time, we had a girls program. So I think it was 5th grade, maybe. I played both. I would play boys and girls. So, like, at our tournaments or like play days or whatever, I would play a boys game, rip the pads off, and then run across the field and go play a girls game. And that was honestly so hard because I just wanted to play like the boys' rules all the time. And so I'd get to the girls' game and wouldn't be able to like hit someone. So that's how I initially got into it. We had family friends that were from the East Coast that had moved to Texas. So like they knew lacrosse. Obviously, we didn't really know it that well, just being in Texas. And then about 6th grade, I got into club, and my mom tricked me into going what was actually a tryout. I thought it was just like a little clinic. She tricked me into going it because I also played basketball and volleyball at the time, and around 6th grade, I liked those sports more. And then I went to this, what I thought was a clinic, was actually like a club tryout or something, and met these coaches that had just moved to Dallas to start a club team. They played at Georgetown. They're on the USA team, and they were awesome, super cool. So I loved them, and I think my mom like knew that I was going to hit it off with them and love the coaches. And so I hit it off with them. They were awesome. And then from there on, I was like, this is my sport. So from about 6th grade, I realized I wanted to play lacrosse. Started going like the camps, doing the whole recruiting thing, because back then there was no recruiting rule. So it started way younger. So I was going to camps. The coaches that were my club coaches were very involved in the lacrosse world. They knew a lot of people. So they were very good about getting us the exposure, meeting other coaches, helping us get recruited. So if it wasn't for them, I would have literally never gotten recruited for lacrosse. Like, I don't think it would have ever gone anywhere. So they were a big impact for Texas lacrosse, especially, but also me, like, personally. And so they sort of sold me on it, helped me fall in love with the game. And high school, I played volleyball and lacrosse, but by that time, I knew lacrosse was my sport. So I just stuck with it.
And
Yeah.
now we're here. And
Here we are.
now we're here. And I guess what that could lead into would be we were asked for some tips for recruiting, thoughts about film, camps, and emailing coaches. So what would you kind of start off there, Meg?
Yeah. For advice for parents with aspiring college lacrosse players, boys or girls, young or old, the advice I would have for you is, so one of the questions they were wondering, someone asked, I have a 6th grade girl who plays on a club team. We see other girls her age starting to get set up for recruiting, such as attending overnight camps, getting extra one-on-one coaching, strength and conditioning clinics, and even making social media profiles to show their highlights. Some of this seems crazy to me at this age, but if it's what everyone else is doing, we don't want to fall behind. Anything you'd say, definitely do or don't do at this age. So for me personally, I was doing all that in middle school, but it's also tricky now because of that rule for recruiting. So I don't know if like 6th grade, that could be a little early to start doing that. Because like you're not going to be committed by your sophomore year of high school like we were. So that is definitely interesting. And the whole like making social media accounts, like lacrosse specific ones that girls do, I think that all started during COVID. And so, I mean, I don't know how much college coaches are looking at little girls like lacrosse social media page. But I would suggest if you have like someone local that played lacrosse in college, or even if you don't, I would try and get the one-on-one coaching, like doing the lessons, the private lessons. That's great. Sort of helps you save some money. But if you can, I would go to the camps and I would try and do it as they get older at schools that they think is a potential school of theirs that they would be interested in. Because that way you're doing a camp, you're in front of the coaches, you're meeting the girls on the team, you're seeing the campus. So you're getting a lot of things done just by going to one camp. I would say like as you get older and you start to narrow down that list, go to the schools like Prospect Camp, where it's a smaller group. The girls that play there are going to be there. It's just the coaches. But as you're younger, I would go to the camps where there's multiple schools, like multiple coaches at one camp, if that makes sense. But then as you get older, you start to narrow down that list. Go to the school's prospect camps, because then the coaches can like coach you more individually. You meet the girls, see the campus, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that Meg just said. And I think it's so important too to also do your research about these schools, because now that the recruiting agent's a little bit older, I think you have a lot more time to think for yourself and kind of, maybe think about what you would want to major in. Like, because some schools, they might not offer something that you're interested in. So making sure you're doing your research, because the lacrosse community also, it's growing, yes, but it's also very small. Like, everyone knows somebody who knows someone that you could talk to, and they're all normally more than open to speak with you about any questions or thoughts you have about your journey you're going through, or what someone else went through. So definitely always openings there. And I would say, just part of the question that was asked for strength and conditioning, I think it's important to start it prior to going to college, but I also wouldn't say go and overuse your body a little bit, because your time in college and your time through high school, it's a grind. You're dedicated to the sport, and then you get to college and you're dedicated there as well. So kind of get like the basics down, work on that injury prevention, do stuff like that, and just make sure you're kind of staying in shape. It's easier to kind of just consistently stay in shape than go in and out of shape, which that was, unfortunate. That was something that I went through a lot. But I think being able to consistently stay on if I could go back and change it, I would just consistently try to stay on one kind of level. It's better for you, better for your team, and it's safer. So
Yeah.
Agree with all the things Meg said. I think emailing coaches before you go to camps, it's important. They're going to see your name pop up in the inbox.
I think this is like the most, I don't know, not oldest trick in the book, but like something I would say that hasn't changed over time is make the highlight reel. Make yourself a highlight reel. Like, you can make it yourself. I can literally make you one. Like, you don't have to go pay someone a ton of money to make this for you, but get a highlight reel together. And then I would say start sending that to coaches before tournaments, before camps. And then from there, that should sort of help you get recruited.
Yeah. So also feel free to reach out if you have any more questions about that stuff. We would love to give you our thoughts, our opinions on the recruiting world these days. And looking forward to the rest of this episode, we have two very, very excited guests that we're excited about. And I think you guys are going to love them. So without further ado, let's head over to our guests.
Let's bring them in.
Hey guys, week 6, we have two very exciting guests who are so graciously giving us their presence tonight. We have Emma Ward and Emma Tyrell, two stud attackers out of Syracuse, New York, coming off a big game this weekend for both the players. If you're unfamiliar, Emma Ward and Emma Tyrell are multi-time All-Americans, Tewaaraton watch list members, and just have overall been such a dominating presence on the Syracuse offense from the moment that they stepped on campus. We had Emma Tyrell, come in this weekend, hitting that 200-point mark, being the 11th player in Syracuse history to hit that point. And Wardo, I don't know if you know this, but you are right behind her over there. So that'll be an exciting point for you to hit as well. So we're so pumped to have you guys. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. And just to kind of start off, why don't you kind of tell us about what year you are, how many years you have left, and what you're studying. We'll have Emma Tyrell go first.
All right. Hey, everyone. Happy to be here. I am currently a grad student. I have no more years left, so that's after this year, I'm done. I graduated my undergrad with a degree in biology, and I'm currently getting my certificate for conflict and collaboration. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Who knew?
What have you learned from that certificate?
I've learned so much. I really know how to deal with conflicts now.
Awesome.
Wait,
Love
Meg,
that.
didn't you do that?
Wardo, what about? No, I did a different certificate.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad you know.
Good friend.
Yeah. All right, Wardo, what about you? What are you up to?
Hi, everyone. Meg, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. As soon as the podcast got announced, I was waiting for my moment to be on it, so I'm very happy it finally came. So I'm a senior right now. I have one more year eligibility after this, after my whole toe disaster. So I'm studying my undergrad. I'm doing a double major in forensics and psychology.
Ooh.
Could not be me. All right, well, enough about school and what we're studying. So you guys just came off a very dominant win against UNC. As we talked about earlier in the podcast. What a great lead into having you guys on our show after a huge win. So tell us about that. What was the message from Kayla pregame in the locker room? What were you guys focusing on? What was your goal? Just give us a little inside scoop.
Want me to go? All right,
Yeah,
I'll go.
go for it.
So, I mean, it was awesome having a full week of preparation before this big game. We were on spring break this past week, so unlike the men, we were in sunny Syracuse, New York, not getting tan like they were in the Outer Banks, but we enjoyed our time. We were able to put a lot of work in, got a lot of film in, and was able to rest our bodies a lot. So we were going into the game feeling really fresh. And the message of the whole week was just preparing like we want to play. So really taking that, dialing that in practice, both offensively and defensively. And I think that showed on both sides of the ball, as well as in the draw circle, just everything coming together for us, and putting on a really good performance.
Emma, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, to go off of that, exactly what Emma said. We really had a full week to prepare, so it was really nice to kind of have the time to really relax and get our bodies ready and I don't know, just prepare just to make sure that we're ready to go for the game. And I guess the pregame message would be just playing all a full game, all 4 quarters. I feel like that's something that we really haven't been able to fully do this season. And I think during that game, we really put all the pieces together from the defense to the offense. So it really was something we focused on. I think we executed it very well.
I think you guys executed it very well.
Yeah, watching that game, you really did play all 4 quarters. There wasn't a time where it was oh, what are they doing? They need to get their act together. It was more just you kind of just dominated all over the field, like what Wardo was saying, from defense only allowing them to have those 7 shots that they had. That is absolutely incredible to take a team like UNC and hold them to under 10 shots and then even less to put up on the board. And then, we've played a lot of different teams, a lot of different places. And where would you guys say, I mean, obviously besides the Dome, is your favorite place to play at, whether it's the field, fans, venue? What do you guys think? Not to stump you here.
I really liked when we went to Northwestern. I thought their facility was so cool, looking out over the water. And their whole lights and everything before the
my
game.
God.
The big show, yeah.
You're not allowed back on this podcast. No,
but
just
if I
kidding.
had to pick somewhere other than the Dome, I would say that
Yeah.
setup was really cool, and they do a really nice job with putting everything together for that team.
For sure.
I have 2 answers. So first one, this is a really weird one, but I love playing on the Syracuse soccer field. I love it.
Oh, good memories on that
That
field.
is a good field.
Fair enough.
I love the grass. It's awesome. 2, it's the stands aren't that huge, but we fill them out so it looks great. It always just looks like so much more people are there. So yeah, that would probably be my top, but a non-Syracuse field would probably be UNC. I love their just
Really?
how it goes down.
Big field though, bro. We'd be running for miles on that thing.
That's a big field.
It is a big field. I don't know. I just like the way the seating's set up. It's cool.
Yeah, UNC is pretty. I will say that.
It is a nice facility. They got good things going on down there. The field is just It's ginormous.
It's so big. It's long and it's so wide.
Oh, you walk on that field for warm-ups, you know it's a long day.
Yeah. For sure. Well, all right. So, favorite places to play: Northwestern, UNC. Least favorite team to play against. Who do you guys not like to play against? Whether it's honestly just, I don't know, it could be anything.
That's a
Is
good
this like
question.
the hardest thing you've done all day?
Yeah, honestly, that's
Kind of.
We could start off with ours if that helps.
Go for it.
Yeah, I need to hear yours.
Mine's Stony Brook.
Oh my god, I was gonna say that.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah, I would say my least favorite team to play was probably BC.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I was gonna say that too. I feel like it's just always an ongoing thing with them, with us. Like,
It's just always, I mean, it's not a bad thing because it's always a battle and you know it's going to be a good game. But I would leave those games with like bruises everywhere.
yeah,
Like my
Like
arms
battle
were tattooed. Yes, very battle tested.
I guess my answer's a little
War for war.
skewed because Stony Brook plays that zone that I love to play against. So in terms of that, I like it because I know we're gonna get a zone defense and like we can beat a zone defense. But in terms of like, yeah, getting beat up in the middle of the 8, I wore like, Emma, was it you?
Me.
Little T, we wore like the padded undershirts for Stony
Yeah.
Brook because I'm
We
legit
did.
scared for my life.
Wore rib pads proudly.
Yeah.
But there's probably a couple teams that I'd say I wasn't too thrilled to play, but you got to do it.
yeah.
Yeah, you can't
Especially in
just
the
not.
ACC, you get them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, what's
I
your
feel
least
like-
favorite?
I'd have to say this is like so specific, but like Loyola.
Ooh, good
Mm.
one.
I
Okay.
think I'm just like scarred from that one time we played outside there and it was freezing. And I remember
Yeah.
just like it was just a really aggressive game and I was so cold.
Was
And it
that
was-
last year?
It was it last year?
No,
When it was dark,
not.
like,
Because
it
I
was under the
playing-
lights?
It was
dark
at
out.
Loyola.
Yeah, that was
Maybe.
cold.
Mhm.
It was I'm like I think I'm scarred from that game. It was really cold.
Yeah, that game was something else. I remember I rolled my ankle so bad at the end of the game. It was like so bad. Oh my gosh.
What's your answer?
I would say probably Boston College as well.
Yeah.
We just always have like such tough games with them. They're always really exciting to play in, but they have gotten our better number quite a number of our times in our careers. So just going into those games has always been like really fun and has always been good ones.
Gotcha. Yeah.
No, I'd have to agree with you, Wardo. I'm right there. And kind of, you know, playing these tougher teams, playing in the ACC, I think it's very different compared to playing in other conferences, which might be biased, but I also think it's really factual. And, you know, you and Emma, you've both played. It's so funny saying you and Emma because you're both Emma. So you guys have played together every year that, you know, you guys have both been here. And a big part of having a successful team, a successful offense is building IQ and kind of finding that chemistry, you know, learning how to play together, knowing where each other is going to be. And you guys seem to connect with each other pretty well, I would say, just from looking at it, or even other people on the team too, like Liv, Sav. We're finding people in the middle. Nat's stepping up a bunch too. So when it comes to building chemistry, how would you guys, I know sometimes it kind of happens naturally, which I understand, but is there any efforts that you guys put forward when it comes to building chemistry, or, you know, something that you would almost advise people to do when it comes to getting 7 cohesive people on offense together?
I feel like I feel like in the beginning of the season we had like pretty frequent just like offensive meetings, just like kind of like getting a feel for what each other like, especially I know last year with you two we did that getting to know what like each person likes to specifically do on the field, like dodging wise and all of that. And we have yet to do that this year, but I think a lot of it carried over from last year because I still like know like where everyone, I mean, we pretty much lost not just you two, but out of the rest of the offense, it's like the same stuff as last year. So it's pretty just knowing, I guess, what everyone likes and how everyone's thought processes are. I feel like that's been really helpful.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'd say like the same thing. I think kind of too, just, like building a relationship. I think sometimes it's like tough love too. So like just having that high expectation for one another when we're out on the field and, knowing if one of us can make a play that we need to make in and, just talking to each other all the time while we're out there builds that really good chemistry that in the end is going to push us over the line at the end.
Yeah, for sure. I think especially too, like over time. I mean, you two have played together for so long now. And I think the rest of the offense, like you said, Emma, not much of it has changed out there. Like the new people that are out there, it's not like they're freshmen you just met. Like you've been practicing with them and stuff. So I think that also helps, just all those reps that you guys get, whether it's outside of practice, during practice. But yeah, you guys have great chemistry out there.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I think, definitely. But I think what Wardo brought up about tough love, I think that that's such a tough conversation sometimes to have, especially because, when you're on the field or off the field, like you're all friends, and you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings ever. But I think it's so important though to be able to, say things that are tough because yeah, it might be hard to hear in the moment, but in a week when you play another team and what happened doesn't happen or something you want to happen happens after saying something, it pays off. So it's like knowing how to say it and sharing that, constructive criticism, we can call it. I think that's so important. And it's so great that you guys are implementing and continuing with that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so you guys have great chemistry together. You guys are putting up a ton of goals, having so much success, both of you. Talk about going through your injuries. You both had season-ending injuries. Talk about what that was like. What is something that got you through it? What'd you learn from it? And how'd you guys come out stronger on the other end, still having success now?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, whichever do you want to go first?
It's a tough one here.
I don't care. Little T, you go first.
Okay. So as many people know, I tore my ACL my junior year, so that was 2 years ago now. It was pretty much like mid-season, so getting to play half the season and kind of getting it taken away really just it wasn't very fun for me. I would say it sucked honestly, but it was honestly great because I was like surrounded by like so many people that have also been like gone through the same thing, and at the same time, like I know like we had other people injured that like Emma was injured, Meg, and like it was really just the support system around me really helped me get through a lot of it. So I feel like that's just been like a huge part of like how well I've come like back off the injury. It's just having such great examples like that had happened coming before me that really helped me. And then even like this, I don't think a lot of people know this actually, but I had a surgery done in August and I was out all fall. So that was like a meniscus tear, but it was kind of a surprise to not know that was going to happen. But even so, coming back from that, I had a great support system again, and like they really pushed me. I had like 2 of my roommates going through ACLs, so like we all kind of rehabbed together this whole fall, and we pushed each other the whole way, and it was really just something that was really great to go through together. Especially, I know Emma was with me there for a little bit too, so it's honestly the biggest part of it for me was just really the support, the people around me.
For sure, it's huge.
Yeah, so my sophomore year, so 2 years ago as well, before the season even started, you guys are going to get the scoop because this is the first podcast or anything that I told people this on. So you guys are the place.
Thanks, Wardo.
You're telling it literally to 2 people that know what happened.
2 people that were there standing next to you when it happened.
Yeah. So during our run test, I tore a ligament in my big toe and I ruptured the plantar plate in my toe. So I had to get my big toe fixed. I had to get surgery on that. And it was like 9-month recovery, which is kind of crazy for a toe. But like Emma said, I mean, that year, unfortunately, we had so many people going through injuries, whether it be ACLs or broken foot or who even knows what else was going on. But just having each other to lean on and, to pick up the bad days and, wipe the tears kind of thing was really nice. Cause I think like when you go through any injury, like having people around you who understand what you're going through. Not like, it may not be like the pain, but like understand what you're going through mentally is really tough. So having people around you to like help you and push you through is really great. And then I also got meniscus surgery in the fall, so I was out with Emma because we have the same names, we do the same things. So we were out in the fall together, rehabbing and stuff, but came back and we're doing great now.
Yeah, I'd say support system is so huge. Like whether it's, I mean, it could be anything. Having people that are also going through an injury was so crucial for me as well because they, like Emma, like you both said, they can relate and they're going through it with you. And not many people can like relate to a season-ending injury. It's a lot different than I pulled my quad, I'm out for a few weeks. Like it is so different. It's such a different toll on you mentally and emotionally. So having people that have also been through it and can relate and just talk to you and be there for you is huge. So Syracuse does a great job of that support system, I'd say, from my experience as well. So I think that is a very great point.
Yeah, you guys are tougher than the average Bears. I'll tell you that. Watching
Like-
them come back. Yeah, honestly watching all three of these ladies come back from injuries was just really inspiring. And I mean, at the time it was really sad and really unfortunate. But they all have come back and they're doing phenomenal things. It's like they didn't really skip a beat here. So great to have you two back out on the field, killing it. And something else that relates to game day. So we'll switch up the pace here a little bit. Superstitions. What do you guys do? Do you have any game day rituals that you might think are a little different? Emma, you're smiling over there. You can start. You can start off.
So I've had a long-standing superstition. I don't recommend this, so anyone who's listening, don't do it. It's not a great idea. But I drink Monster before each game, and it's like probably not the best idea because I do cramp because of it sometimes. So I wouldn't recommend, but I tried to not do it this year in the beginning of the season, and I don't know what happened, but I couldn't flip into like game mode because I didn't have my Monster. So that, and then I used to eat gummy worms for every game, but we don't get gummy worms pregame anymore, so I don't have them.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
There's no reason why. They just don't pick them up now, but it's okay. I'm over it.
That's sad.
So yeah, I just do my Monster, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I
and
don't know how.
Shout out Hallie Simpkins. She has to braid my hair every game day.
Yeah, I don't really know how you run around with that monster in you. Literally, like I don't get it at all.
Monster and gummy worms is insane pregame meal.
Yeah, I don't know.
Running out on the field just like tweaking. Warda, what about you? Anything healthier than Emma by chance? Or
I mean, if the Diet Coke is healthier than a Monster, like where?
Syracuse lacrosse to a T. There's no such thing as nutrition or eating healthy.
Warda was pulling up to the 10 a.m. game with a Diet Coke.
With McDonald's Diet Coke.
She's tweaking if she doesn't have it.
Oh
I
God.
got one right here. Look.
Oh, that looks
I
phenomenal.
literally just threw mine out.
But I don't really have any superstitions like that, but I always go and shoot with teammate Meg Road, Tim, Tank, whatever you want to call her. And then I also have Kat cup my hamstrings for 5 minutes, and I do the timer on my watch, and that's like really the only superstitions I have.
That pregame cupping hits so different, and
So different.
it is so beneficial for the rest of the game.
And we used to be doing it to each other.
No, literally, we would be like, "Oh, like, can you do this? Cat's busy." I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, no problem.
We would
All right.
turn into the athletic trainers.
Sign me up."
Okay, so Emma, or both of you guys, but Emma, you talked about your gummy worms and Monster. Do you have like a normal pregame meal? What are y'all's pregame meals, or are you sticking to Monster and gummy worms? Do you eat anything? Your sister doesn't, but I don't know if you do.
I definitely eat before. I'm not like that superstitious about that. I kind of just, it depends what time the game is. I mean, we've had a lot of 12 o'clock games this year on like Saturdays, so roommates
your-
and I will just let's have breakfast. So like, I don't know.
What's your go-to?
My go-to on game days, I guess, it's a mix of either I'll do like eggs and like a bagel. Like I have like mini bagels I do. And then or I'll do like a sandwich from Starbucks.
Classic.
Classic.
Too good.
The turkey bacon one.
Turkey bacon, or I've been on the spinach feta wrap one. That one's good.
Interesting.
Ooh, good one.
What about you? What's your go-to pregame meal?
Well, I'm not a big like breakfast person, so usually I just go like right to like lunch. So usually I just get like a sandwich or like a Starbucks sandwich, something like that. I don't like to eat a lot before I play. I don't
Me
like feeling
neither.
very full. Like I need to eat something very light because like if I feel heavy before the game, then I feel like gross the entire game.
Oh my god,
The
I
game's
need
over at that point.
You already lost. Like,
I could eat like 5 meals before a game.
no.
Like if it's a noon game, I'm probably gonna eat breakfast and figure out how to eat lunch too.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's really quick. That's a
I
quick
could do that.
turnaround.
Yeah.
Or just a massive breakfast. I guess if like warm up starting at 10, then I'm probably not eating lunch. But
Watching Sam Swart eat prior to games used to make me
Oh.
sick.
a brownie.
No, when
You're
she
like,
used to have the hungry man.
The hungry man.
the
I was
hungry
like,
man.
and I was like, you're gonna go run midfield for 60 minutes,
And then
2
she was
ways.
the fastest one up and down the whole time.
Mhm.
No
It's so
sense.
crazy.
It's insane how our bodies can do that.
It really is.
All right, well,
To switch it up from some lacrosse stuff, let's talk some Syracuse local spots. Where do you guys like to eat or just kind of peruse around? What do you like to do? That's, in your free time, some
on an
might say.
off day, if you get that.
For me, definitely on like off days during season, like this is so specific to season. I like to eat Swallows, as everyone knows, as you guys all know. Swallows, it's like this little dive bar in Syracuse, and they have the best wings and burger, and I love that
Unbelievable.
place. Oh, so good.
So good. Oh, we didn't get that this weekend. Dang.
I just come back.
Yeah.
Guys, gotta go back.
But yeah, that's pretty much my go-to there.
Have you
during
ever had their bacon cheeseburger?
Yes.
Their burger is so good.
I don't
Jimmer
even
and I would get the wings, split the hot ranch wings, and split a cheeseburger. So good.
That's what I do. I
Oh
split
my
it.
god.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
Swallows is unreal. What about you?
Like an off day, definitely like sleeping in, but I'm a big dessert person, so I'm hitting up Gannon's or Snow Top. So I'm a big ice cream fanatic. So
Do you go to Sweet Frog Thursdays?
Sweet Frog is closed.
Get
You hear about the
out. I
scandal?
just screamed.
The
What
scandal. Oh,
The
we're gonna have
scandal.
to tell you offline.
Yeah, we can't
Really?
say. We can't talk about it.
Oh. What's happening at a froyo place? Why are they getting
It's
crazy?
crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. So there's no $4 Thursdays anymore.
Done.
That's tragic.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Wow. Wasn't expecting that one. Breaking news on the Meg show.
Oh, that's funny.
That's too
Um,
good.
What is your like go-to? Okay, after you wake up, like, are you guys gonna go shopping, get coffee, drive around? What do you like to do to kill time in Syracuse?
Probably like just go get Starbucks and then going to treatment. That's like basically my life nowadays.
People don't give athletes enough credit, I think, for how little time
No
they have
food.
to themselves.
Yeah.
Even on the off days, you're taking care of yourself, making sure you're ready for the next game. But Syracuse does have some pretty good local spots to get to. That's kind of close. You guys, Reese, the coffee place? I don't love
Recess?
coffee. Recess, yeah.
Recess?
Yeah,
Why'd you just say Reese?
because I don't go there. I just have heard of it.
Recess has the best bagel sandwich.
There,
So
I
good.
like twice.
love Recess.
Yeah, Recess. I forgot about that.
So that's what we're talking about. We're trying to get people to understand what goes on in Syracuse that is local to Syracuse that you do enjoy.
Well, Brunch Spot, Rise and Shine, love.
Yeah.
So good. But Recess has the best. It's like this protein banana smoothie
Yes.
coffee thing.
So
Oh my gosh,
good.
it's so good.
Guys, I tried to DM. Do you guys ever go to DeWitt Bagel Co?
Oh, Meg got me so bad with this weekend.
Okay,
I might as well have had gullible written on my forehead.
So I convinced Meg of this, but Tessa and I last year, our 5th year, when we literally had nothing to do except just kill time, would always go to DeWitt Bagel Co. and get a breakfast sandwich, but we like sort of made our own. I did, and then I put her onto it, and it was sausage, egg, and cheese with a hash brown toasted on plain bagel or whatever bagel you want with their like garlic aioli sauce. And so then I DM them, and I'm like, hey guys, you should name this Meg the Egg. Try to get a bagel after me. They never responded, but I convinced Meg of it this past weekend, and she fully thought that, I don't know how you wouldn't have known. Do you guys hear that? You don't hear the sirens?
Oh yeah, now I do.
Nebraska. Jeez.
It's getting crazy out there. Anyways, I fully convinced Meg of it this weekend, which I don't know how you wouldn't have known if that was actually a thing as my roommate. But if you guys haven't had it, you should go try it because it's really good.
I'll go try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just built a new bagel place on Marshall. Did you guys see that?
I heard about that. It was closed when we were there.
Meg and I drove by it.
We did drive by it.
Pretty good.
So now that you guys are, not to call you old ladies in the collegiate sport world, but you're getting up there. Have you thought about what you're going to do when this is all over, all said and done? Any thoughts about what you're going to do post-college, or Wardo, potentially not post-college, but
Yeah, what job?
any thoughts on that?
Yeah, what are you taking a 5th year? I'm just kidding.
I have no idea.
Just kidding.
This body is so old, man. Like, oh my god.
But
If
yeah.
the wheels can keep turning, like,
Well, once you hang the cleats up, Emma, you're about to, sorry, but what do you guys want to do post-college job-wise? What do you want to do?
So currently I actually have a job. I work for one of the orthopedic surgeons for upstate, and I work there like 3 times a week. And so once I graduate, I'm actually that's going to be my full-time position. So I work as a medical
Fun.
scribe there, and I'm going to be doing that for the next year because I'm going to be taking a gap year. And then in my gap year, I'm applying to PA school because I want to be a physician assistant.
So will you like live in Syracuse for another year?
Yeah, this upcoming year. And then I'm going to apply to PA schools, hopefully get into one that's down south, warm weather. Yeah.
That's fun. Well, good luck.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, if anyone knows of any apartments for Emma,
Yeah, let me
Please.
know.
please
I'm
help
a
her
partner
out.
for Tim.
Emma, you post about apartment complex all the time. Can you not live in
No.
one of those?
I know, but they're kind of expensive, so I'm just see if
Yeah.
they'll like get a deal or something.
Yeah, what? They should give you a deal. You're posting about them.
I know. I'll ask.
That's funny.
Wardo, what about you? What do you want to do when all's up?
so like my dream job would be to like work in like the FBI, but obviously it takes like a little bit to get there. So first, like, I think you have to go like law enforcement kind of route, and then work your way up, get some time under your belt, and then apply and go into the academy. So probably after, just get like a police job, hopefully on Long Island, go back home for a little bit, and then spread
Long
my
Island's a
wings.
good place to do it.
I know, right? Or in the
Awesome.
city, something like that.
Fun.
Oh, look at you guys
Yeah.
figuring
Your
out your
lives
life.
together.
I could cry.
Well, don't.
I'm not gonna. I would
Okay.
though.
To wrap this up, what is any advice you guys would give to the next generation?
To what? Sorry, you cut out.
Oh, what advice would you give to the next generation?
Oh,
You know, like those little girls that look up to you. What advice would you give them?
I would just say my biggest piece of advice would be like, I know there's like a lot of scrutiny, like with like rankings and this and that, and like I think that a big thing like not to worry about those things, who's getting awards, who's making this, who's making that team. Like, it doesn't really matter as long as you focus on yourself and your own skill. Like, you're going to end up where you're meant to be, and you're going to have the successful and the longevity of the career that you want to have, as long as you personally do like what you need to do. Like, I know in my career, and like all of us at times have been looked over, but we ended up having amazing careers, and we all got to play with each other, and we made amazing memories. So I think that would be like my one piece of advice is like, don't get down on like, oh, I didn't make this team, or oh, I didn't get this award. Because bottom line, like, people when I was in high school probably wouldn't think that I'd be in the position that I am now. So just keep on the path that you're down, and don't get like thrown off by those kinds of things.
Nice. Wow. Inspired.
That was a good one.
That was so insightful. Wow.
You have a way with your words.
Well, to go off of that, I definitely say in the aspect of like just like kind of go your own route, like really just working hard. Like, I know it's so like generic to say that, and like everyone always says it, but like seriously, just like working hard and like getting good at what you're good at. That is something that is so important, because you might think that the little things don't matter. Like, if you're like really good, like you have great footwork, like keep working at that, because that is something that especially like college coaches love to see, and it's something that we continue to work at the collegiate level. So like, I mean, I know like we all still work on perfecting our craft as we play. So like, it's not something that just kind of goes away. Like, just keep sticking to it. Hard work, it really does pay off, and I think that all of us could like attest to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are two really good pieces of advice. If you're listening, listen to them. These are two of the best in the game right now, and we are so lucky to know them so well. And thank you guys so much for your time and for coming on the podcast. And best of luck this weekend. You got a big matchup.
Tomorrow. I mean, it won't be like yesterday when this comes out, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Good
week.
point. Yes.
This weekend, big games for you guys. So
Yeah, you got
best of
Albany
luck.
and UVA.
We'll be tuning in. Thank you guys.
Thanks for coming.
you.
Thanks for having us. This was so fun.